Hello, my name is Jessica Romero. I'll be presenting the freeze tolerance in wood frogs, in other words, Rhina sylvatica. The amazing wood frog, it can be found in about Georgia, Ohio, all the way up to Alaska and the Arctic Circle. Its freeze tolerance is dependent on where the frog is located. So, let's say Georgia will have a much higher but lower temperature than Alaska, because in Alaska it's about negative 16 degrees Celsius, and down in Georgia or Ohio it's about negative 3 to negative 6 degrees Celsius. How is it possible that this species can survive such low temperatures? Well, its ability to tolerate low temperatures is due to a cryoprotectant system that helps it completely freeze itself during low temperatures and helping it survive through rough and very cold winters without minimal to no damage. This is due to the increase in levels of glucose and urea in body cells. Figure 1 shows the difference in glucose levels in plasma and liver glycogen for species found in Alaska and Ohio. As you can see, those that live in Alaska, those species that live in Alaska have much higher glucose levels than those that live in Ohio. This is due to much lower temperatures in Alaska, which those species that are in Alaska will need much more glucose in their cells. There are 3 states on which the process of freeze tolerance occurs. There's the initiation, the freezing state, and then the thawing stage. The initiation stage is where the wood frog, its skin is touched by a single ice crystal. This will then initiate the production of glucose. So glucose levels will increase into body cells as well as urea. At the same time while this is happening, water is exiting this cell. This then becomes the freezing stage, which the water outside the cell becomes frozen, but the cell itself is unfrozen with high levels of glucose. For the thawing stage, after winter has passed and temperatures tend to increase, the frog will then return back to its normal state. The wood frog is the most studied species in North America due to its freeze tolerance in low temperatures. Its cryoprotecting systems are enhanced to protect the wood frog from injury. This is very helpful for the frog, by this physiological adaptation, it will need to hibernate in a hole or move to a specific area. This is an advantage for survival in this species against those species that are unable to do this. Many studies have been conducted. An interesting experiment to be conducted is the freeze tolerance in 2 different species, in hopes of finding any correlation between the 2 that can be useful for future experiments and maybe useful to consider freeze tolerance in other wildlife and maybe humans as well.